Hey there, everybody. If you've been watching our live videos much in the past, recent year or so, you've noticed that the person who usually does these is Jessica. And she is super good at this. And I am new to it. So I'm gonna take a few minutes here, and I just want to talk about a very basic parenting concept that I have been using. My wife and I have been using for probably 3 or 4 years now, and it's kind of an interesting concept. I'll just kind of talk through it for a few minutes. It's the idea that if a child, let's say, if you have a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5, 6, 7, I would say maybe up to 8 or 9, who you have a hard time getting control of them. You have a hard time getting them to stop playing, or you have a hard time getting their attention. They are looking for structure. They're looking for a cognitive anchor that can help them to refocus. So they're playing or they're fighting or whatever they're doing, and you say, "Hey, stop that, stop that, stop that," and they are, basically ignoring you. And it may be, for some parents, it's because they haven't yet figured out how to kind of rein that in. And for some parents, it's maybe because they get frustrated with their kids, so they get amped up when their kids aren't listening. I've seen that a lot of times. In the course of doing this, what I do for the last 10 years, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients who, as we're working with their kid, we find out that we also need to be working with the parents, because as for every book, there's hundreds of books out there, maybe thousands, about how to parent and how to parent children with ADHD or children with oppositional defiant disorder or anxiety or depression. There's a lot of concepts, but not all the parents have time to read that stuff. And so I find myself being not only doing brain integration training and management, I also find myself doing a lot of parent coaching. I find myself doing things like life coaching. I actually do life coaching and spiritual direction. And in the process of that, I find just a lot of opportunities to teach parents some very basic things. And so this one is I call it Lock It Up. And I'm going to show you a clip real quick that was the inspiration for it. It's just funny. It makes me laugh a lot. Let me flip this around here. Can I flip it around? Yeah? I don't know how. Oh, there we go. There's Jess. Watch this. It's funny.
No, she says you better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
That was the inspiration for the Lock It Up concept. Because what they're trying to do is get each other to behave better, right? And kids oftentimes can't respond. They don't respond to stop. Hey, stop. What are you doing? Stop that. Don't run across the road. They're not trained to that. They actually tune that out. A lot of times I think kids hear stop or don't or hey, quit it or whatever they're hearing from the mom and dad who are frustrated. They just kind of tune that out and they keep going on with whatever they're doing. So I just realized that, and I also realized that I get frustrated like any parent. And if you are saying you don't get frustrated, then we need to talk, because I don't believe you. And so I needed a chance for myself to kind of come down from the frustration. So what I started doing was I knew I wanted to tell my kids to lock it up. I knew I wanted to get them to be able to tune in to me rather than tune out of me whenever they were doing something that needed to stop. And so I did it as a game first. So actually, I'm going to use Jessica as an example here. Let me flip the camera again. So if my kids, originally what I did was, hi Jess, I said, hey guys, let's play a game. And everybody's played red light, green light. So I would say, all right, we're going to play red light, green light. But instead of saying red light, I'm going to say lock it up. And so what I want you to do is just play that game. And so I would be like, okay guys, ready? Green light, lock it up. And just like that, we would stop. I'm going to flip it back. they would stop and they would lock it up, and we would just play and play and play. And we did that for several days, where lock it up, the phrase lock it up, became a fun way for them to kind of engage that phrase, and then it didn't have any negative built into it. It didn't feel like a control mechanism. They related it in their mind to a fun thing. And my I guess my overall objective here is you don't want your kids to hear you constantly saying stop it or don't do that, because I think inevitably that becomes a negative, because you wouldn't say, hey, stop it, in a fun way for the most part. I actually can't even think of an example of where you would be like, hey, stop that, quit that, get over here. You just wouldn't do that if you weren't already frustrated. So trying to build in something fun on the front of it has a lot of value. So after we did the gameplay with it, they became keyed in. I could be anywhere and be like, lock it up, and they would, for fun, come running over to me and stand in front of me. And then it became a discipline thing. So it actually transitioned to, we started practicing doing just lock it up. So I would just go like this. Just go, hey, lock it up real quick. Lock it up. And this is how they do. They put their feet together, put their hands down at their sides. They look at me directly in the eyes. And I taught them this. And I just taught them, like, you got to be a soldier. You got to be like you're in the military. So, we would focus on getting the feet together, focus on getting the arms down at the sides, make a fist, because I want their body posture to be not a distraction for them. I want them to have a still body and focusing on, again, an externality, which is me saying, lock it up. So I may say that 10, 15 times to get them, especially my 4-year-old. I'm like, lock it up. And then he starts squirming and wiggling around, and I'm like, lock it up. And I just keep coming back to that. And I may say, wait, everybody stand on one leg. I may go back into, even if I'm frustrated, I may go back into the gamification of it, because it allows them to engage with thinking about the game or thinking about the instruction, rather than the fact that I'm about to give them some correction. Now, there's another piece to this, which is when I'm frustrated, I might need a minute to kind of collect my thoughts before I deliver the correction, because I might be about to yell and scream. And a lot of us do that. A lot of parents are yellers. If you grew up in a yelling family, it's hard to break. And I'm sure you can understand that. If you didn't grow up in a yelling family and you're married to a yeller, hi, Ange, you're struggling with that whole concept. And lock it up can help, because you can say to a kiddo, lock it up, or 3 kids, in my case 4, you can say lock it up, and they literally stand in front of you and they're crying and, upset and waffling around and struggling to lock it up. And in that moment, you can lock yourself up. And it's really important to be able to do that and say, you know what, you don't tell them this, but I need a minute so I don't punt you across the living room, which I know that's harsh language, but I'm just being real about it. You need a second, and they need a second. And it's okay to just say, hey, lock it up, and put them right in front of you, and they're standing there and, oh God, and they're crying and they're wiping their eyes, and you're panting, you're frustrated, you're huffing and puffing, and you're about to blow the house down, and you just stand there, and you guys just be there together, locked up, and you just go, okay, I got this. And then you look them in the eyes, and you get soft, and you get down on their level, and you correct them. And this works at home, it works at church, it works in an airport. I've done this, I can do it anywhere. I could be at my parents' house and just be like, hey, lock it up, guys. And they come running from wherever they're at, and they lock it up. And I think it's fun, I think it's impressive. They think it's impressive too. They know when they lock it up and other people are watching, they know that other people are like, whoa, I wish I had that kind of control over my kids. And you should, by the way, have that kind of control over your kids. The idea that we should not control kids, I don't know, I've heard this recently talked about, it's insanity. Kids need to be under control. They need to be structured. They're learning self-control from the way you control them. Little kids, I'm not talking about teenagers. Once they start getting that frontal brain, it's a different story. So hopefully this is all making sense to you. But I just want to make sure that I communicate that you don't have to use the phrase lock it up. You can use any phrase you want. You could say, heck, you could say red light. You know, it doesn't matter what phrase you use, as long as it's something that you can build in positive at first and then use it as a control mechanism and an anchor point, a psychological anchor point second. So hopefully that'll make sense. You know, if you have questions or suggestions, or if you have your own system that you're using, please get at me on social media somehow and let me know. I love hearing other people's modifications of ideas like this. Parenting is tough, and especially if you've got a kiddo who is, you know, ADHD or oppositional defiant or Asperger's, autism, anything like that, where you've got a kiddo that's struggling to key in and stand still and hold attention. Having a psychological anchor is absolutely invaluable, and it's good for you, it's good for them, and it ties into other things that I'll come in and teach some philosophy on later in different lives, where we'll talk about the concept of teach and protect, and we can talk about creating a culture in your home, and there's a whole lot of things that can go into this, but this is just one basic tool that you can use, and I highly recommend, even if you have a 9 or 10 or 12-year-old, you could probably figure out a way to gamify it and create an environment for them where they will be able to engage with you, and you can kind of create some more peace in your home. And it's a parenting hack, and that's what we're all looking for, right? Is a parenting hack without trying to use medications or without trying to resort to basic violence. So I think that's pretty much all I've got for you. I don't want to drag this thing out too long, but I want to make sure that we not only do we want to teach science, not only do we want to teach applied functional neurology, not only do we want to explain how to do testing and how to do exercises, we really want to get into the parenting side of things and the philosophy side of things, and we may even get into the spiritual side of things. Who knows? Down the road, who knows what's possible. But we want to make sure that we are communicating with you guys and meeting you where you're at in your daily lives and giving you everything that you need to create the life that you want with your kids. And so we're really excited about all the progress that everybody's getting. I know when Jess does these, she has stories locked and loaded for you about all the people in our program, and I don't have the same connection that she does to the front line. All I get is every day I get reports of people who are in our program, people who are in our 2-week challenge, people who are in our actual summer program or other programs, and they're getting just unbelievable life-changing results. And it is such a cool thing to hear about every day. And I highly recommend, if you're if you're wanting to just find out if there's something that we do that might be able to help one of your kids or even help you or one of your siblings or relatives, please reach out. Set up a consultation with Jess. She will make time. She will take all the time that you need, and she'll make sure that all your questions are answered so that you can make a decision that is right for your family. So really nice to talk to you guys. Thanks for being with me today, and I look forward to talking to you soon. All right, lock it up.